Be prepared. There is no more waiting. What happens next will determine which aspects of your life will remain and which will disappear permanently from your existence. Those who feel that their lives are on hold, this is not a figment of your imagination. A spiritual bottleneck has become a compression chamber for souls stuck between endings that refuse to end and beginnings that refuse to begin. This was the case throughout July. Is it a coincidence that I am sending you this message right now? No, it is not. It is one of the divine laws of the universe and heaven. Yes, the law of attraction. You feel extremely lucky that I am sending you this message, don't you? Before moving on to the message, please like the video to share this message with others, dear soul. You must also receive and accept the message with love. If you write "I have received and accepted it with love" in the comments and seal it with 444, you will maintain the balance of giving and receiving. Don't forget to stay tuned and subscribe for our other messages. Says Archangel Michael. Now we can slowly move on to the message. Despite the fact that you have been feeling the weight of potential while sitting in the cosmic waiting room, you have rejected the movement to act on it. The plans broke down. It was ghosted by people. There were no significant changes. Nevertheless, everything within you told you that something significant was going to happen, but it turned out that something wasn't going to happen. It has just now descended. The presence of heaven has arrived. This week, which is the last week of July, is the checkpoint. Further, if you are aware of what it signifies, you will be ready to receive what is going to happen in the future. There is no longer any reason to wait. In addition, there is no turning back now. This is already a downward spiral. To be honest, you haven't noticed it yet. The energy of the earth is not exactly in equilibrium at the moment. It is hunched over. The entire plane of reality appears to have transformed, and it appears that everyone is either moving upwards into higher timelines or slowly plummeting into the incorrect timeline. It is possible that you will experience a peculiar movement in your body, or that you will feel as though time is flowing too quickly or not at all. You have a greater tendency to drop things. You have come to forget what day it is. You have the impression that you are running late for something, despite the fact that no one has informed you of what it is. There is no pandemonium there. In other words, that is alignment under pressure. The floor is tilted in an incline. And now, even the smallest of decisions carries a tremendous amount of weight. The more you harbor resentment, the more it will grow. In the event that you take courageous action, reality will bend around you. The following is not a test. There is a change in direction. Some people will experience a more rapid ascent as a result of this energy. The facade that some people have constructed will be completely destroyed as a result of this. The fact of the matter is that there are certain individuals who will not become aware of the change until it is already too late. Reactivation is about to take place for you if you have been hushed, disregarded, or felt that your contributions are unappreciated. Quite a few of you have been experiencing feelings of invisibility for a considerable amount of time. You are not just invisible to other people, but it is almost as if the entire cosmos has turned off your life. All of the invitations were withdrawn. The spotlight became less bright. All of the communications that you conveyed were either ignored or ignored as if they were nothing more than noise. For a period of time, you began to feel that it was you who was responsible, that it's possible that your voice hadn't been heard at all. On the other hand, what if that silence wasn't a kind of punishment? A shield was what it was. It is not possible for heaven to waste its messengers. Additionally, it conceals them when the frequency becomes excessively distorted. When the noise of the world becomes too loud for them to listen, it calms them down. Now, however, the hiding season has come to an end. Reactivation of the calling service is scheduled for this week. The sudden need to say the thing, publish the message, and tackle what has been left unsaid for an excessive amount of time, including the inner strain that you are beginning to feel. It is not a happenstance. That should be the signal. In heaven, the runway is being cleared, and you are being told, speak now. We'll handle the consequences. Your voice was never too much. Up to this point, the world just was not prepared. Also, You shouldn't be astonished if people from your past end up coming back into your life. It is not the intention of each and every one of them to remain, but they will arrive with confirmation. They will reflect back to you the developments that they did not notice in you previously. There are those who will act as if they have never questioning your credibility. There are some people who will act as if they have always known. But you'll be aware of it. The movement of your bones will be noticeable to you. It has already been granted to you the permission that you have been waiting for. This week, you will go from being unknown to being celebrated. Your right to speak is not the only one you have. It is not a coincidence. Something that used to make the previous version of you feel frightened is about to be done by you. On July 28th, the moon will come into contact with Mars. In addition, this is not a gentle connection. What you are witnessing now is the collision of intuition and emotion with action and fire. It is uncooked, in a straightforward manner, as well as the fact that it does not wait for excessive pondering to catch up. It is to be anticipated that you will have a sudden surge of lucidity, but not the tranquil type. You may find yourself moved by this kind of clarity even before you are prepared to be moved. You might experience an overpowering impulse to take a risky action. Say something that could potentially hurt someone's feelings, begin or terminate something without engaging in the typical internal argument. On the contrary, that is not impulsive. Fear is finally being overcome by instinct in this situation. There is no need to ask yourself if you are prepared. Inquire within yourself about the consequences of continuing to wait. These transits are not subtle at all. Suddenly, the cloud of uncertainty that has been looming over your next move is lifted. This particular confluence functions as a heavenly ignition switch, particularly for those who have elected to be selected. Not as bravery, but as a necessity, the bravery that you have been hoping for manifests itself in your body. You will realize that the time has come. This is something that some of you will encounter in your relationships, when you will come to the realization that you cannot keep quiet about what has been bothering you. Others will experience it creatively or spiritually, as if the thing you have been suppressing for a long time finally finds its way out. Additionally, here is the catch. It is not only a matter of how well you speak or act. It is about coming to terms with the fact that your feelings are valuable, and that your inner world is not a sign of weakness, but rather the foundation upon which you may build your goal. When it comes to knowing, your body is ahead of your mind. Constantly, your system is clearly communicating with you at this very moment. It's possible that you can't sit still, or that you're pacing around for no apparent reason. It's possible that you're waking up at odd hours, scrolling through your phone without being sure what you're looking for, or having conversations in your head that feel different from what actually took place. That is not a distraction at all. That is preparation. This energy does not simply arrive in the environment that you are surrounded by. It comes into contact with your nervous system. And before your conscious mind is able to recognize the impending arrival of anything significant, the body begins to make room for it. And this is the reason why so many people who have been chosen are experiencing feelings of restlessness, an incomprehensible pressure in their chest, and an emotional tightrope walk in which you are fine one moment and then feel as like you are shedding your own skin the next. A lack of tranquility is not the same thing as restlessness. The arrival of movement is the cause of this. It is reasonable to anticipate impromptu judgments that will even surprise you. If you feel that you have reached the end of something, whether it be a habit, a person, or a mindset, you can decide to let it go rather than analyze it like you normally would. A simple and immediate release is all that is required. There is no elaborate ritual or unending processing. You are not damaged. At this point, you are prepared. In addition to this, you will experience unusual but powerful cravings to clean your space, rearrange the rooms in your home, get rid of outdated clothes, and even delete substantial portions of your digital existence. This is not an example of artistic impulse. To put it another way, your energetic body is organizing itself. You are making way for a version of yourself that does not bear the same weight as the previous one. The emotional armor that you have been wearing is beginning to break, not because it is trying to make you weak, but rather because it is finally allowing the genuine current to take its place. The pieces of you are not falling apart. The transition from something heavier to something lighter is taking place. Some people may even have feelings of exposure, such as the sensation that their feelings are sitting on the surface of their skin, or the sensation that people can suddenly see what they had been keeping hidden. Emotional nakedness is a terrifying sense to experience. With that being said, there is power beneath it. You are not losing your competitive advantage. You have just put an end to acting as though you require it. If anything seems strange, intense, or rapid, or if it feels painfully honest, then you should trust it. The time that this energy consumes is not wasted. In order to activate, it arrives. That still, quiet voice that you have within you is never less than a whisper. A sneak peek was provided. You were aware of what was about to happen. Even before the indications manifested themselves, before the circumstances began to change, and even before you were able to provide an explanation, you had already experienced it. The sensation of entering a moment that you were unable to identify but could not shake. All of your inner understanding will be validated by the world around you throughout this week. This is the very moment. It is not that synchronicities will just occur. Rather, they will intensify. It will become apparent to you that the numbers are repeating with an absurd degree of accuracy. 222, 717, 11 to 11, 11 to 11. A timing that causes you to pause in the middle of a statement. They are aligned, not because they are magical, but because they are in harmony. Both your mind and reality are beginning to sync. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are manifesting themselves in the physical fast that you are undergoing. What's more, it won't be limited to numbers. You're going to experience moments of déjà vu that will make your stomach plummet. Encounters that could be described as scripted. There is nothing funny about these metaphors. Those are the echoes of the signal that you have been sending, which has finally been reflected back to you. There has been no weakening of the barrier that separates thinking and reality. I have lost it. This is the week that you take a step back and make the realization that you were not acting irrationally. You had the upper hand, a feeling that something was abnormal about the environment you were in. You are going to see the truth about what it was. Even if your life appeared to be the same, you had the impression that something fresh was on its way. It will start to take shape in front of your eyes in real time. And this is the part that will either fear you or thrill you, or perhaps both of these emotions will be present. Beginning at this point forward, your alignment will magnetize things at a far faster rate than it did on previous occasions. Your actions will have repercussions. The thing that you resist will exert more force. Whatever it is that you think will begin to manifest itself in observable signs. You are not bringing things into existence through your thoughts. At long last, you have arrived at a place where reality is paying attention. Not a warning, the voice that indicated something significant is about to happen in the near future. That was a warm greeting. When you were at your most vulnerable, the universe will not forget the words that you muttered to yourselves. Something has been going on behind the scenes for a number of months, possibly even years, and you may not have been able to see it. The things that you pleaded for in total silence, the changes that you wrote about in your journal, but ultimately decided not to pursue. For the entire time, the prayers that you didn't believe anyone was paying attention to have been circling about you, waiting for one thing to happen. Energetic alignment. This is the week that the lock will finally be able to be opened. Imagine that your life is equivalent to a radio tower. Using your hopes, fears, beliefs, and subconscious habits as a foundation, you have been transmitting a frequency. The reality that you were trying to phone in was not reflected in the station that you were tuned to for a considerable amount of time. You were looking for peace, yet you chose to maintain chaos. Although you desired affection, you chose to remain concealed. You desired movement, yet you were afraid of the consequences of change. It was not the universe's intention to say no. It mentioned that it was not yet. At this moment, something has shifted. Perhaps it was a decision that you made without much fanfare and nothing much was said about it. The moment you finally let go of something that had been draining your energy could have been the moment that it happened. Perhaps you were having a breakdown at the time, and you realized that you could no longer pretend to be someone else. As a result of whatever it was, your frequency was recalibrated, and the cosmos is now able to recognize you once more. This is the push that is not only soft but also obvious, and it is the force that makes everything feel suddenly easier. That is the door that opens even though you were not banging on it. The individual who, at long last, comprehends what it is that you have been attempting to convey. When you have just begun to entertain thoughts of giving up, you receive an email. This is the moment that serves as a reminder that nothing was squandered. If you forget that you were ever waiting for something, you shouldn't be astonished if it starts to move. It's possible that you're wondering, why now? The more important question, however, is why not right now? It is clear that you did not pass up the chance. You are transforming into the version of yourself that actually has the ability to hold it. The atmosphere is buzzing with activity this week. You feel as like life is gravitating toward you, yet it is subtle and steady. Don't try to influence anything. Let yourself be pulled by the current. At this point, you are no longer pursuing. It is being given to you. Be aware of this fact whenever it occurs, regardless of what it may be. It is not a happenstance. In other words, it is the answer that arrives precisely when it is supposed to, dressed in a shape that you might not have anticipated, but it is always yours. Something extremely unusual is taking place. What you believe, how much shadow work you've done, or whether you've ever heard the phrase ascension, mean nothing to the energy that is flooding the earth during this final stretch of July. It doesn't care. Knowledge is not the focus of this week's activities. It all comes down to frequency. It is impossible to deceive frequency. Although they have never picked a card, never touched a crystal, or viewed a spiritual movie, there are people who have lived their lives from the heart. Perhaps they are even close to you. They have maintained their generosity even while no one was looking. You can count on them to tell the truth even when it is inconvenient. The innocence of others has been safeguarded. They have advocated for others, and they have walked with quiet integrity. At this very moment, they are about to experience something that they are unable to articulate. A subtle serenity, a peculiar clarity, and a knowledge that not originates from the intellect but rather from somewhere else. And there is no prior warning, it strikes. It is not necessary to perform an awakening on a soul that is in alignment. The only time it is required to be present is when the frequency is reached. The term for this kind of loophole is a heavenly loophole. It is not necessary for heaven to have your intellectual permission in order to touch you. It is sufficient to have the door open. And in the case of some individuals, that door was never locked in the first place. All along, they have been in a state of silent resonance, even if they did not have the words or the context involved. Therefore, this week, you shouldn't be astonished if the individuals around you who are the most unexpected start showing signs and symptoms. Suddenly, a coworker who has never showed any depth of interest in anything begins to talk about how something seems different. It's possible that a member of the family who typically laughs at conversations of this nature would acknowledge that they've been experiencing peculiar feelings, as if something is about to happen. A person who has never been spiritual in any way suddenly finds themselves in a position where they feel the need to make a significant choice in their life and are certain that it is the right choice. That is not a coincidence at all. You are making contact. The information was obtained not from a guide or an instructor, but rather directly from the source itself. Unadulterated, unfiltered, and entirely pure. Heaven will not determine whether or not you believe. When no one is looking, it reacts to who you are and what you represent. This is not the time to differentiate between those who are spiritual and those who are not spiritual. In order to demonstrate that spirit has always been present, it is necessary to weave together the quiet moments of integrity, the unseen decisions to be honest, and the small moments of choosing love over fear. Those moments are now being valued for their significance. A further implication of this is that you should not disregard the happenings in other people simply because they do not speak the same language. Someone who is not familiar with them, yet suddenly has a surge of intuition. A close buddy who makes a daring adjustment that they are unable to explain. These occurrences are not a coincidence. The indicators are there. They are being illuminated by the light. In addition, it does not in any way request their belief in return. Take careful note of this. This week will awaken more people than just those who have already awakened. Those individuals who have been living their lives in truth quietly will be able to receive it. They might also increase at a rate that is faster than anyone anticipates. For the simple reason that, in the end, it is not about knowing the road. When you walk through it, you should do it with a pure heart. After sundown, your soul will begin to awaken during this final week of the month of July. In spite of the fact that your energy is being turned upside down right now, you are not broken. You have chosen to tune in. The same peculiar occurrence is being reported by a significant number of chosen individuals this week. Throughout the day, exhaustion, and throughout the night, electricity. Insomnia is not the problem. Anxiety is not the problem. The change is occurring. You might feel as though your brain is turning back on at 9 o'clock at night, and you might realize that it is quietly sneaking in. As soon as the environment becomes silent, your thoughts become more clear, the fog that you have been experiencing within you lifts, and your sense of direction becomes more pronounced. Because the most intense broadcasts from the universe are currently coming after the sun has set, this is taking place at this very moment. There is no longer a simple period of relaxation during the night. It's a window for the welcome area. Noise, duties, and diversions are all things that come with the daytime. However, the signal grows cleaner during the nighttime hours, when the collective chatter is less audible and fewer individuals are broadcasting their frequencies into the grid. It is at that point that you begin to hear once more. It was at that point that the downloads began. In a manner that is neither ambiguous or mystical, but rather in a manner that is plainly internal. Suddenly, answers that you were unable to comprehend earlier become readily apparent. That anxiety that you were unable to identify, and the decision that you were unable to make. The process of crystallization starts to take place at night. There is no longer a pause throughout the nighttime. It serves as your actual point of departure. Physical clues, spurts of creativity, a restless need to move or speak, a feeling like your chest is humming lightly, and being compelled to write or contemplate are all examples of things that you could experience. There is no malfunctioning in your body at this time. The reason for this is that your nervous system is sinking to a deeper stream. No, you are not exhausted. Your perception of the world is expanding, and you are becoming more aware of what lies beneath the surface. Furthermore, there is more. It is highly probable that your soul has made the decision to awaken after dark, because this is the time when timelines are more flexible. Currently, when the sun has set, the curtain that separates decision-making and the actualization of that decision is thinner. When you sense something at night, it will plant roots more quickly. What you decide to do at night is more likely to be permanent. When there is no one else around, it is important to pay attention to what you concentrate on, what you write down, and what you tell yourself. You are currently in a place where your future is being silently molded. The fact that you are awake is not enough. You are also being aligned. Therefore, if you find that you are coming to life after the sun has set, you should not oppose it. You should follow its lead. The nighttime clarity that you are experiencing is a gift, and it will not stay forever. Utilize it. Keep a record of each occurrence. Make sure you say what needs to be said, because it is possible that your next chapter will already be written by the time the sun rises one more time. This week contains more than simply a change. It is also a reward. The quiet battles, the moments you drew back when no one noticed, the seasons of seclusion that seemed more like exile than rest, and the heartbreaks that did not come from failing love, but rather from discovering how much you had to let go of simply to stay in alignment, were not things that you imagined during your time. And here you are at this moment. But not ready, albeit not entirely clear, but perfect in every way. This last week of July is not the beginning of your adventure. It is only the beginning. All of the struggles that you have endured in order to arrive at this point are validated by this. During the time that others were enthusiastically moving forward, you have been quietly preparing. Your mending has been going on behind the scenes while the world has been moving at an ever-increasing pace, trying to convince you that you are falling further and further behind. On the other hand, your soul was aware of it. Along this path, speed was not a concern. Timing was the key to success. The time has finally come, and it is now. The week when your inner effort begins to show on the outside is the week that you are entering. It's possible that what's going to happen next won't be particularly shocking, but it will be indisputable. Not in huge dramatic moments, but in tiny affirmations that hit you where it hurts. You will start to feel as though the universe is meeting you halfway. The appropriate individuals discovering you. When you needed them the most, the appropriate signals appeared at the precise moment you needed them. The fears that were previously raging within are now becoming muffled echoes that no longer carry any significance. When life suddenly starts to work with your spirit, you shouldn't be surprised by it. You have worked hard for it, mainly due to the fact that many people will not tell you the truth. A portion of those who expressed interest in the shift will not be able to experience it, because they were not prepared to give up their false selves. Many people will continue to be stuck in loops. This is not because they are bad people. You, on the other hand, let go. In front of you was the mirror. Despite the fact that it was costly for you, you told the truth. Indeed, this particular alignment is referred to by a name for this very reason. Is yours. For the sole purpose of returning to your previous self, you did not heal. You were able to recover and become someone you could not have even imagined being at that time. At the beginning of this week, life begins to make sense once more. Not because it becomes simpler, but rather because it adjusts to the new circumstances. It will feel as though the gears that are not visible are moving into place. As time goes on, you will realize that you are no longer questioning each and every step. As soon as you enter a room, you will no longer question whether or not you are comfortable there. You will be aware that you do. Because of clarity, not because of ego, but because of clarity. This means that you are not crazy if you have been experiencing a buzzing sensation beneath your skin, if the wind feels different, or if your instincts are more prominent. You're going to show up. During this week, the long and silent preparation will come to a satisfactory conclusion. Moving forward is not the only thing that the universe is requesting from you. At long last, it is announcing, "Now we walk with you." The reward is not simply the future that lies ahead. If you are prepared, it will be a reflection of who you are when it arrives. In the event that you are still watching, I would like to express my gratitude for your attention. In the event that you found the content to be enjoyable and would like to view additional content, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your assistance is greatly valued and appreciated. Thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Until we meet again, please be careful and subscribe to receive additional content that is insightful.